You are listening to the Palestine in America podcast. The following episode is from our highly anticipated food edition. Three Palestinian brothers, Ronnie, Johnny, and Danny Dubbaneh, opened Z&Z in 2016. Before opening their bakery, their family began serving za'atar manaeesh, a traditional Middle Eastern flatbread topped with za'atar mixed with olive oil and fresh veggies, at Foggy Bottom's farmers market in Washington, D.C. The Middle Eastern food company's name is a play on zayt and za'atar, which is a staple of the Palestinian breakfast. Danny, who joined our podcast to answer some questions for the Palestine in America food edition, says he wants customers to have an experience when they visit his family's bakery. He also gave us insight into his Palestinian identity, his relationship with Palestinian food, and why cultural preservation is so important to him.
My dad's family is from Jaffa. He was born in Ramallah. They left like right after 48. And my mom's side on the other grandma's side goes back to like Nazareth and Bethlehem.
Okay, and
yeah.
you guys have family there still?
Yeah, still have family in Ramallah. Most of our family's all in Jordan that hasn't come to the U.S. A lot of family in Jordan. But we still have some cousins in Ramallah.
Okay, have you been?
Yeah, been a couple times. We actually, the most special trip I ever took in my life, as a result of the business, we were able to take my dad and mom back to Palestine for the first time since my dad left 40 years ago. So we went with them in 2018 now. I think 2018, we took him back. And it was amazing. A really special trip.
How did he describe that trip to you, if you don't mind sharing?
It's interesting because for so long he said, "Oh, what's the point of going back? Why am I going to go back?" And, and obviously he came, he opened a restaurant, and just worked, never thought about anything. And when you have a restaurant, you don't exactly have the time nor the money to take vacations. So to be able to take it was really special, and just seeing him there transformed, like this man who's kind of serious and working his whole life, to see him almost like a kid again, remembering his childhood memories, looking out, looking for places he used to visit, or seeing how things changed, meeting old friends, seeing the memories come back was really special. It was really cool. And obviously, a lot of it is heartbreaking because when he grew up, like he went looking for his family house in Jaffa, and obviously, I remember he always said, it had the orange trees in front of it and like the beach was behind it. And then we'd be asking like different Arabus on the street, and they said, "My friend, like the orange trees are long gone."
Yeah.
So it's a little bittersweet for sure, but really glad that we got to share that experience with my parents. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't had a chance to go back with their parents. It's really special to experience.
Yeah, no, and honestly, to see like what our parents have sacrificed to be able to do that for them. My mom is in Palestine this summer, actually.
Wow.
And has been spending the whole summer there with her family. And, she's sending me videos, and she's like reuniting with all of her nieces and nephews she hasn't seen in a really long time. And just seeing the joy, it's their connection. Like for me, I obviously feel a very deep connection, but, I wasn't born there. So I think there's always like something different that for our parents' generation that, when they're able to go back and experience that again, it's really like coming home.
Yeah, absolutely. I always feel, I think a lot of people feel something maybe a little bit conflicting about, you weren't born there, you didn't necessarily grow up there, but you feel this connection, right? And I always had these feelings, it's like, why do you feel so connected? But I remember when we stepped out of the bus and stepped that first foot in Jaffa, like this overwhelming like flood of emotions, like you just felt it in your bones and your blood that you were home.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. Yeah.
You're about to make me cry, Danny. Seriously. I'm getting so emotional.
I know.
It's also because one of my friends just came back from a trip in Palestine, and her family was also exiled, and they grew up, the family was all in Jordan, and she said she was so nervous she wasn't going to be able to get in, and security held her for so long. But she shared a video on social media of the minute she stepped out of the car, like into the actual like land, and it's overwhelming. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, like, you grew up here in the US, but were you aware of like your Palestinian identity from an early age, or was it more just like general Arab identity?
Yeah, so I always talk about this. I think as children and even teenagers, like our focus was just on blending in or fitting in. Like I wanted to be like everyone else, right? And yeah, I even had like, you know, an English name, like Daniel, you know, so it wasn't like it stuck out that much. But what did always stick out is like the food you bring to the lunch table. So my mom would always pack us these like zayt and za'atar sandwiches. And we would like beg, like, please, mom, I just want a peanut butter and jelly. God, if you would give me Lunchables, I would be the happiest kid in the world. And so it was so funny when like all these years later, we started Z&Z selling, you know, za'atar and manaeesh. My mom was like, you guys used to complain about not bringing it. People used to make fun of you, blah, blah. So, you know, growing up, and I think this is common for a lot of children of immigrants, is you just want to be like everyone else. And then I think when we got older, you find yourself kind of reaching back and looking for your roots and wanting to connect, especially as like, I think the strongest connection we have is either our parents or our grandparents, and you see them getting older and you want to kind of keep those traditions alive, those aspects of your culture, those memories, even with them, that when you're living and grew up in the US, you can't find many other places.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so I think it wasn't until maybe even after like college that we really became interested and passionate about, you know, our identity and really embracing it. And that's continued to grow as you get older. I think it's just it's an identity thing more than anything else.
And
Yeah, definitely.
When did you guys open up Z&Z?
We started Z&Z in 2016. At the time, it was just like kind of a side passion project.
And what made you do that in 2016?
The combination of things. So me and my brothers were always kind of entrepreneurial. Maybe because my dad owned a restaurant, I don't know, or maybe just I don't know. We, you know, when you grow up with a lot of siblings and you're not allowed to leave the house, you get creative. So we were always doing little projects, this and that. And I'd finished grad school at the time, and I was applying for jobs, and it was obviously going really slow. And so we were looking for something to kind of occupy ourselves with. And we always had this idea of like we wanted to do something with our culture. And at that time, we had become interested, I think, in, you know, we obviously grew up around food. Our family, I always say our family, like in a culture that's obsessed with hospitality, my family is like the extremists of hospitality. Like we take it to another level. So we always grew up like if someone was visiting you, you took it so seriously. Like we have to make sure they have a good time. We have to make sure there's enough food to last 2 weeks. You know, we have to get dessert that they leave with food in their pockets. Like, you know, just so we had like that kind of instilled in us, and we always loved it, and we were always kind of looking for a way to express that. So all of these things kind of came together. We said, okay, well, like we want to do a business. We want to do something that embodies our culture. And then I said, but we want to do something that someone hasn't really done before. And hummus, falafel, had been kind of around by then. And then we were remembering the za'atar manaeesh my grandma used to make for us almost every weekend. We literally like wake up to the smell of her baking. My mom says my mom had 5 kids, so she needed help. My grandma would come bake like 100 manaeesh on the weekend. She'd freeze them. We had a ping pong table, so we'd literally just fill up the ping pong table with manaeesh. And so we were like, why don't we do this? Like no one's doing this. Like we loved it growing up. You know, why don't we introduce it to people? So that's how it started. Just kind of with that. Let's do it for fun. Let's see what happens.
Well, we're very grateful.
Yeah,
I know
you.
I am specifically very grateful.
Yeah, I need to make my way out there.
Definitely come in clutch a few times for me, especially when I had COVID and Danny went out of his way to send me a box of their frozen ones that they sell in the store. So
yeah,
that was the only thing I ate, honestly, when I had COVID. The only thing I could actually taste.
That falls in line with his hospitality take. That, you know, they take it
exactly
to the next level.
Honestly, I will say yes, because the first time I ordered spices, they sell the za'atar in big bags, but not the sumac. And I like put in a note that like, can you sell
you would
sumac in a big bag for like people who actually cook? And they shipped me my spices and just added this extra large Ziploc bag of sumac. It was like, enjoy it.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, our nature. Like my mom always taught us, you know, if you can do a little something that'll make someone happy, why not do it? And you know, we try to do that with everything we do.
No, and that's honestly, that's amazing. And that really goes back to like, you know, the core of like our culture, you know, as Palestinians, like very hospitable, and we go out of our way to make sure that, you know, our products and the experience that we give people is like, you know, top of the line, and they leave very happy. So yeah, much respect for all of the work that you guys do.
Thank you. And I always like to joke that food is like our only love language. You know,
I think to me it is too. I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
show my love and affection for all of my friends, right? I
Yeah.
host dinner parties and bring people over. And like your parents are always so sweet every time I run into them, especially your mom. Your mom and her Instagram comments always kill me.
Yeah, she is.
Every time I post anything I'm cooking, she's like, "Well done, Habibti."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thank you, Khato."
I'm glad you enjoyed them. My like little cousins now are starting to be on social media, so they're complaining about my mom commenting, and I'm like, oh, you'll appreciate them one day.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so we talked a little bit about this, but why do you think that food is very important for our cultural preservation as Palestinians?
I think it's so important, especially obviously with a population that is so heavily displaced. There's very few things you can bring with you, right? And one of those is the language. One of those is the rituals, or the different things you carry with you. And then the biggest thing, more than anything else, is food. Food travels with you wherever you go. And so those recipes that are handed down, the ways we prepare the meals, the ways we share the meals, that is the biggest thing I think that keeps that connection alive. So whether you're in the US or you're in Denmark or Australia or Japan, you can sit down and eat in msakhan. It's kind of the same thing, and so it really wraps up so much. It wraps up those memories with your family. It wraps up the environment you were in. And it allows those things to continue no matter where you are. And in 3 generations from now, if you continue these traditions, like, if my great grandchildren are still dipping za'atar, they still have that connection, even though they're so far removed from it in a time aspect, but they're still close via the food.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's very true. And I think a lot of times that we don't think about that and how important it is, right? But I think the authenticity of the food, the traditions that we bring along and like serving it. And obviously like we adapt in there, right? I mean, not like chocolate hummus adapting, but my parents, we used to do msakhan wraps at the restaurant, but we would do them in tortilla because it was just a little bit more sustainable and it would hold up better than, like the thinner like saj bread.
Yeah.
But it's a way for us to be able to continue to share our food with people, and make it like more accessible and I guess more palatable. One thing I want to stick on though is the fact that you guys make sure not to call your manaeesh a Mediterranean pizza. Why is that?
Well, we explicitly do that, and actually, so our website is itsnotpizza.com, and that is like it was like, oh God, this is I don't know, a stick in our craw. That's a weird Southern expression that came to my head for some reason, but
grinds your gears.
Yes.
I guess that's a northern translation. When we first started, like obviously, it's just like you were saying today about it being understandable. Like, oh, what is that? It looks like a pizza, but it has like something else on it. And when we first started, we're like, okay, whatever, that's easier for people to understand. We'll tell them, okay, call it it's a some people call it Arab pizza, whatever. But then as time went on, we like no, like why do we have to make our food fit into their bucket? Like, why not introduce them to it? Call it the name it deserves to be called, and come to know this is a manaeesh. This is what manaeesh is. This is where it comes from. This is the origin. It was a long. I don't want to start any beef with the Italians. It was around a long time before the pizza. Tomato is a new world fruit. It wasn't even around back then. But so
breaking news: PI is going to break this story.
I know. and pasta is Chinese. Get over it.
I was just about to ask you your hot food taste. And there you go. You just rip it.
So I've been watching The Sopranos, so I'm a little Italian kick. But yeah. Anyways, we really wanted to say, like, I would say it's up to us, the people who are introducing these foods. Instead of just saying, oh, they're getting blended into mainstream and being called like za'atar and whatever. It's like, if we're not out there making sure that people come to know our foods for what they are and what they're supposed to be called and how they're pronounced, then no one else is going to do it for us. And so that's why we're really adamant about saying this is manaeesh, this is manaeesh, and like our mission, if you will, is like to make the manaeesh known and loved by everyone in the world eventually. But for now, we'll start with the US.
And
Danny,
we
that makes
definitely
me,
do love it.
I'm sorry, Danny, that makes me think of you know, what you just said. Pretty much, is that our way to combat people taking our food and calling it their own?
Mm.
100%. I was just talking to someone about this the other day, and it's like a twofold movement where one, the creators like us have to be in the space and creating and staking the representation, right? This is our food. This is how it's served. This is how it's made. And then the other side is like the change makers, if you will, being open and receptive and making sure that they are giving spaces to the people who have connections to these food, because food doesn't exist in a vacuum. And I'm fond of other people cooking, creating. Like I want to explore with other cultures' food as well. But when there's people who have this connection to the food, they should be the ones introducing it, and they should be the ones, really claiming it and describing how it is, because otherwise, you can't just say, oh, well, it's becoming mainstream and people are ruining it. So it's up to us to put it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes sense. And Nader, yeah, you brought it up because I was gonna say, like, if we don't call it like falafel or manaeesh, a certain someone's gonna come in and try to claim that that is their dish, right?
Yeah.
So we really need to be very proactive with that. I actually thought about that for my upcoming pop-up. So I actually, the menu has the Arabic words for the dishes, like hashwe and like judge meshwi, salata arabi is like, chopped salad, or, roasted chicken, or rice with, rice. I mean, that's in the description, but obviously should be using the phrases.
Yeah.
So that people know this is what it is. I mean, we call other food, whether it's like, Italian, like pasta, right? They each have a name, whether it's like a Thai dish, like pad Thai, pad siu, like they're all using their actual, phrases. And so we shouldn't be, hesitant to be able to do that ourselves. I think it's just media and society has always made us as Arabs feel like using our own language is bad, right?
Yeah, and those are great examples. I think a lot of it will take time and effort. Like people become exposed to it over time. It becomes normalized, and people get used to seeing them. But if we were to keep shying away from it, right, then people will never call it by their true names.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie though, when you guys brought this up, like just like you, I used to call it Arabic pizza. I still call it Arabic pizza, like when I'm describing it to my friends. But now I'm gonna stop.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Change somebody's mind. So there we go. We're starting a movement.
Another win. Yeah.
Spread it all around Chicago, Nader.
What's up? I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
So, Danny, tell us what your favorite Palestinian dish is.
My favorite dish is maglubat zahra, specifically zahra. So anytime I was away from home for a while, it's always the dish my mom would make me when I came home. I don't know why. It's something about like the way that's soft, and then the broth and the meat, and it just all comes together in such a beautiful medley. I don't know. And then obviously the McLuhan, the pan, all of that has so many kind of feelings tied up into it. So that's probably my favorite dish. But I always remember also, like, the first time I went to Ramallah, our aunt Randa made us this beautiful msakhan as soon as we got there. And there was something like right, a meal is more than just the food sometimes, which is big about what we do at Z&Z, right? It's not just the food, it's experience, interaction, and that whole environment, like just arriving in Ramallah, the atmosphere, the views, the people around us, the meal itself too, all just came together, and it just makes it all so special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Makluba is definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
And I served it at my pop-up this year.
Yeah, and yours was delicious.
Okay, I was gonna say, how did it measure up? Because there was Zahra in that one too, so
Look, I know my mom's gonna watch this eventually, so I can't make any comparisons.
Okay, I never want to compete with any moms because our moms are just like elite. But people tell me my food is good, I'm like, you got to try my mom. My mom is like, the queen. She's the one that really taught me everything. So
yeah.
That's understandable.
It all trickles down. Every generation you go back is a little better, right?
But Danny, what's your hot take on Palestinian food? What's something that you would say about a Palestinian dish that you feel like the rest of Palestinians would disagree with you?
Oh, this is a tough one.
Like, do you
'Cause
love
I feel like most of
bamia?
my
Hey, now don't hate on bamia, dude. Okay, bamia is amazing.
bamia, if you know how to cook it,
Yes.
bamia is good. That it's all up to
Fair,
the cook.
fair,
Yeah.
fair.
But
If
that's
you
true
have-
though, because
yeah.
people do hate on bamia all the time. Those
Guilty.
memes, it's like one's gotta go.
Yeah.
Always bamia.
If you've had bad bamia, I can't blame you.
Well, mlukhiyah, how do you eat your mlukhiyah? Is it wara or is it na'meh?
Na'meh.
Okay.
Yeah. I love mlukhiyah as well. I don't know if I have any hot takes that most Arab would disagree with. I think mine's are pretty in the middle.
Well, mine is that I actually don't like mensaf.
Oh my God.
I'm lactose.
I do not.
And I eat mensaf.
Yeah, I mean, Milk doesn't like me that much either, but you get some mensa from me. I'm the last one standing every time we go to Jordan. Especially with the hands. Come on.
So what's
Oh,
what's your favorite manaeesh at your restaurant?
For me, probably, I don't know. I just a classic za'atar manaeesh hits a spot like nothing else for me. Every once in a while I mix it up, but classic za'atar, and sometimes I'll go with the fresh veggies and some tuum on top. We have something
Tomb
called
Raider,
Tomb Raider.
yes.
Yeah, that one's probably one of my favorites. It's just like the simplicity of it, and then the brightness of all the different flavors with the za'atar is really nice. Yeah,
Wipe the drool away.
I know, right? My favorite one there is the Lebanese bride. That one is like the first one I ever had, and I've tried the others, but that one to me is just delicious. And I make that version at home all the time. So it's like all these fresh veggies with lebneh, and it's got like fresh mint, and it's just like so delicious.
Yeah,
so good.
That one's so popular. That one's great, especially in the summer when you're craving something like cool and
cooling
refreshing.
effect. Yeah, it's fantastic. But the other ones are amazing. The lahma b'ajin is wonderful.
Oh yeah.
You also have the halabi honey one. That one is with suja.
Yeah, that one is like our tongue-in-cheek version of what some people might call a pizza.
Yeah, no tomato sauce.
Yeah, no tomato sauce. But it has like our ingredients, right? Sujuk, the Aleppo pepper, so.
No, it's very, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell me, what has been the best reaction to your food?
So we get a lot of great reactions, and that's always and I think Janine, you can relate to this, running any kind of food business is exhausting and tiring, and there are highs and lows. And when you have these special moments, it's like a brief pause and everything makes sense, and this is why you're doing it, and this is what. And we luckily get to have those little moments every single week, and people this is amazing. I didn't know you guys are I've been looking for a good manaeesh. I feel like I'm back at home. This is such an amazing experience. But the number one that comes to mind is we were at the Foggy Bottom market, which is where we got our start. And this is a crowded downtown DC area. Some lady, I guess, had smelled the scent of za'atar from down the street and was following her nose, literally comes up to her tent and then sees that we're making fresh manaeesh. We do on Saj, traditional way outside, and literally broke down in tears because I guess she hadn't been back to Lebanon in 10 years. She hadn't seen manaeesh. She was there for a business trip or something, and
wow,
was just I feel and she just felt so connected at that time, and that was honestly our biggest accomplishment at ZNZ is when people come, they're not just coming to eat, they're coming to be a part of something. And people linger, they hang out, they're they're visiting family, which has been our goal all along. And so when we can do that for someone, it's okay, this is why we're doing it.
That's really beautiful.
Let me ask these questions to you guys. I got some quick questions.
Sure.
شاي بالنعناع or بالمرمية?
So I actually mix it.
That's
my mom.
I've never seen that.
My mom. No. My mom growing up, honestly, and when I serve shai to my friends at my house, I do nana and maramia, and it just has an amazing flavor. Now, depending though, obviously in the winter, I like to do strictly maramia sometimes, and then in the summer, obviously strictly nana. But once in a while, I'll mix them like my mom used to, and it's good. For my pop-up next week, I'm actually doing shai maramia, just because of the digestive, because I want to talk about the importance of the digestive properties of it. I think it's important to share that, but that's my take.
I'm going to go far right and say shai with just maramia. It's funny. Growing up, I couldn't stand it because my mom would force it to us, like when we were sick or have a tummy ache.
Yes, we have tummy ache.
That's what I associated with.
but oh man, I grew up to just I love it. And like anytime I go to visit my grandma, I'll call them while I'm on the way. Say, hey, can you brew some manaeesh? It's just like you just feel whole inside, you know, when you're drinking it. But yeah, shouting that now obviously is great. Mixing is great too because it kind of like, you know, mellows out the flavor a little bit if you're not big on manaeesh. Like my sister can't stand it. Even though I told her, you know, there's a million great benefits to manaeesh. I'd love to do a presentation on it one day, but we'll see.
You should actually. You should do it for our fikra. That would be great.
Yeah.
They would love that.
Danny, I know you already said that makluba is your favorite, but you also mentioned how you're the last one standing eating mensef. So if you had to choose one has to go.
Oh. Mensef is just so tied up with like celebration. You know, we always have it at hot, so I can't get rid of mensef. I just can't. And like, you know, come on, how can I let go of this?
Yeah, you know which one I'm getting rid of.
Yeah, we already know. You already told us.
You gotta have
I didn't pose the question to you, okay?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Nothing's better than a big bowl of makluba. And then my mom, we used to like, I don't know how you guys eat yours, but like my mom always had leban and salad on the side. Yeah. But I would just like put it all on top, not on the sides.
Yeah.
And it would just be like every bite had like the hot like makluba with the cooling leban and like the tangy salad.
Oh yeah, that's how I love to eat it too.
It's perfect.
My mom would say, "Oh, well, you're mixing it all up. You know, it's gross." I said, "It's gonna get mixed up."
Right, exactly.
But it's like every bite's the perfect bite, you know. So I don't need to take a little here and a little there.
Yep.
Let's just get it going.
Absolutely.
All right, and my last one, malfouf or warak.
Warak, yeah, no competition.
Oh wow!
I do love malfouf, but warak is just
You put it.
I even like.
Go ahead.
I even like it like cold the next day is somehow better. I don't know why, but like
yeah, so no, good. I agree. It's like amazing. And the thing is that it's as an adult now, I realize how difficult it is to make it.
Yeah.
I make it maybe once a year, like maybe. And I just realized, I remember all the times I would like beg my mom to make a sweater and she would just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, our mothers, like they really just
but my mom doesn't hold back anymore.
Like
my mom doesn't hold back anymore. Before she would do it, like you ask her, she'd do it. And now she's like, hell no, that's tiring. Have one of your wives do it.
Yeah. My teta still has a big dahlia of the grape leaf, so she's always rolling duali or giving away a duarak to people. So
nice.
we probably eat it like 40 times a year.
Nice.
Hello, invitation. Let me know next time.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, it is such a labor of love. Like so much of our traditional food takes like, we always say, oh, you're cooking for 12 hours and you're eating for like 10 minutes, you know, but.
Which is why it's good just to make a big quantity so you have plenty.
Yeah, and then you eat it for like 2 weeks.
We don't worry about foodborne illnesses
yeah, exactly.
in our house. We just keep eating things.
Just cover it with a blanket. It stays warm.
Exactly.
So let me ask my two chefs. I thought I was done asking, but I'm I'm not vegetarian, but I like my warak without meat. Am I crazy or?
You know, I've had the duali siami, we call it, with the tomato, and sometimes it can be better. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big meat eater, but something about the flavor is just like it's juicy, it's light. I don't know.
Yeah,
both are great, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mom always made it with meat, but like I felt like more of our Lebanese friends, they would always make it vegetarian, and at the restaurant we had both. So I mean, we got to eat whichever one we wanted all the time, but I like the veggie ones for the same reason that Danny said. Like they're juicier, a lot of lemon, a lot of tomato, like got that acidity. I like the ones that are like mushy at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Like my sister always hated that, but I love those because those always soaked up the most flavor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It's dinner time.
It is. I got my stuff prepped to make dinner after this interview is done. So.
Oh, there you go.
What are you guys having for dinner?
You know, all's got to be prepared.
I'm having steak. I said, what are you guys having for dinner? I'm having steak.
Steak? Oh no, I'm just making some like. It's not even like a real dish. It's just something I came up with, just like eggplant with ground beef and tomatoes and onion and a lot of like herbs and stuff, and I serve it over rice.
Yeah, I'm probably just having a little steak too. It's funny. It's like when you live and work in food, is like when you cook. It's kind of honestly how I've always been. It's like I prefer cooking for other people than for myself. So it's like for me, it's just functional. Like I eat whatever I need to, or whatever I want. But if I'm having friends over or something like that, I'll go all out.
Yeah,
and it's just how it is.
It's true, actually. I haven't really for myself. I'll make like a quick pasta dish sometimes, but I haven't cooked like any Arabi food. Like I've been wanting to make a mlokhia, but I don't want to make it just for myself. It feels like it's almost kind of like a waste just to cook it just for me. So I like keep trying to get my friends, and everybody's busy because it's the summer. And I'm just like, well, I'm not cooking it until someone decides to come and eat it with me.
Yeah, I do love seeing you make the mlokhia when you dip the pan in there and you get the sizzle.
I was literally just about to ask. For somebody who doesn't know shit about shit, okay, what's important to do? Everybody tells me it's really important. So I'm going to ask my two chefs here, what is the purpose of that? What does it do?
Really, it just like brings out like the fragrance of the garlic, because when you fry it in the oil and then you mix it with like the liquid, it really just adds this extra aroma, right? So, I mean, it's kind of to help temper it when you pour the garlic with the oil into the dish, but I think the aroma also just entices people, right? Because now your house is like, smells like freaking fried garlic, and it smells so good.
But does it take skill to do that? Would you say that it takes high level of skill to do that?
I mean, I guess depends. Like if you're clumsy, you probably don't want a pan of like hot burning garlic oil, But I actually bought a pan off Amazon that's like this big. It's meant for like a single egg, right?
Yeah.
But I bought it specifically for the tashe because it's the perfect size, because I can fit it into any pot that I'm using. And that's literally what it's for. That's all it's for.
Perfect.
So that way you don't have any mistakes or any accidents. We got to be careful.
Yeah.
Fair.
So yeah, now I really want to make him mlokhia. So
yeah, you have to now.
Stay tuned. It's probably going to happen soon.
There you go.
So Danny, what advice do you have for someone looking to launch a Palestinian food business?
The number one advice I would have is just go into it believing what you're doing and not letting any obstacles that come your way kind of deter you. Because when we went into it, it was important for us to say, this is Palestinian food, these are Palestinian ingredients. Not only that was it important, it was just obvious, right? Like no one else in the world has this issue. If my food is from this country, I don't even think twice about saying, hey, this is, whatever, Mexican corn, etc. But because we're Palestinian, we've been forced to think twice about, can we say this? Like, is it gonna? And we've had so many, I'm not gonna get into it now, but so many just absolutely ridiculous situations where people have attacked us or said rude things. So simply for the fact stating that our product is Palestinian when it's been grown in Palestine for so long, it like has this connection to the culture and the land. But you just keep going forward. That's we kind of anticipate that going on, and like obviously it was a not to get too business here, but it's a risk, and it's not maybe the best business strategy because it invites a lot of unfair criticism, but it also brings a lot of support, and people who care and think about it will rally behind you. I think we've seen a lot more people entering the space and proudly saying this is Palestinian kanafa, this is Palestinian food. Your pop-up is proudly Palestinian, and that's like beautiful to see. And we're not trying to blend it under this Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, whatever you want to call it, but like specifically Palestinian.
Yeah.
And just believe what you're doing and do it for the right reasons.
No, that's really well put. Really well put. I mean, I just recently had a situation where somebody recommended a restaurant, and and the food looked amazing, and I go click on it, it says Middle Eastern, and I'm like, let me Google this chef's name. And then I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And that happens a lot, actually. And I think that's why it's important, right, that we frame our food in a specific way, especially in DC, because there's a lot of restaurants that are like that, where you'll see like a, hummus and like, some different shakshuka and different things. And then you're like, wait a minute. And then I always look at the about page of these restaurants.
Yeah.
And every single time. So like DC only has a few Palestinian places. And everybody knows that they're Palestinian. So if a new place comes on the scene and it's very ambiguous and very like just Middle Eastern, you know.
Yeah.
One of my tells is and not to hate on shakshuka, but when I see shakshuka on the menu, I get my red flag alerts start going.
Yes.
Just,
absolutely. I agree.
They love to steal shakshuka for some reason.
Yeah, no,
it's funny. Years before shakshuka became popular, my mom's family in Jordan in the Hussein, which is like the village out there. At like midnight, my uncle used to cook us this like tomato and egg dish, and he called it jazmuz, and we loved it. And then like 6 years later, shakshuka is everywhere, and I was like, what jazmuz?
Jazmuz. I like
crazy.
that name better. Jazmuz.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, right?
That's awesome.
I was like, I thought this was only something my uncle made at like 2 a.m. when we were playing like cards all night.
They stole your guys' like tradition.
Yeah.
How did everybody find out?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like more like alayt bandura, and then you add like a couple of eggs in it, right? So it's practically the same thing.
I love galayt bandura. Actually, so I'm playing with, like the grandma slice for pizza. Like the deep dish. I'm playing with a teta slice with the galayt bandura on top because my grandma always used to make galayt bandura for us. So we're gonna do like a teta slice with like galayt bandura on top as an addition. Yeah, I made it once. It was so good. And of course,
I flight to DC.
Had to fry the garlic,
I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna do any more interviews like this.
Yeah, honestly, like the lineup we have, like it's just got more and more food, like all this extra food.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about food for the next couple of weeks. So I don't know, maybe eat before. So
before and during. Yeah.
Like Ramadan, right? You don't go food shopping when you're hungry.
Literally.
So kind of the same concept. Don't come to the interviews hungry.
That's right.
Main mistake.
You guys scheduled a dinner time, not me.
I know, right? Listen, it was all Nader because he's Central Time. He's over in Chicago.
I see. You're good.
There's that Chi-Town bias.
Yeah, well, we love Chicago. We do.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Janelle?
The last question is, what's your most controversial food take? Not specific to Arab food, but just in general.
Yeah. Oh, this is one I get in a debate with my wife all the time because I love American cheese and I love white chocolate. I don't care if it's not chocolate and it's not cheese. I love them both. I'm sorry.
I'm not a purist.
Like the yellow slices? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The plastic? You like
it
just straight up like
oil
yellow.
The yellow plastic. I mean, I understand, good cheese has its place, but on like a cheeseburger or on a steak and cheese, I just need some good old American plastic.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that. Especially like, if you're doing like a cheesesteak, like the Cheese Whiz, right? Like, that's basically not real cheese. But you need that.
Maybe it's not real, but it's real to me. Yeah.
It's real good is what it is.
That's right.
That's awesome.
There you go. Yeah.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you joining us, Danny and Janan. Thanks for introducing me. I feel like I met one of the best Palestinian chefs out there. I can't wait to try Z&Z when I get out there to DC specifically. And is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners or our readers, Danny, before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you both for having me. Pleasure speaking with both of you. If you guys want to check out Z&Z, it's not pizza.com, easy to remember. Or Z&Z DC is our Instagram page, and we're also very active on YouTube. We try to put out a lot of fun videos there.
Oh, so yeah, their videos are hilarious. Amazing.
I need to subscribe.
For sure.
Like and subscribe.
It's not pizza.com.
Yep. That's right.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, you two. I appreciate both of you. And I'll talk to you guys soon, inshallah.
Thank you all.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.